Seeds of Wisdom RV and Economic Updates Thursday evening the 10th of October 24. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Good evening. Dinar recaps. Sen. Hagerty's stablecoin regulation draft aims for clarity, echoes House bill framework. Black small square. The draft closely resembles the Clarity for Stablecoins Act worked on in the House of Representatives by Representative Patrick McHenry, RNC, and Maxine Waters, D. Califf. Black small square. It is Senator Hagerty's version of McHenry Waters, spokespeople for Senator Hagerty said in an emailed statement to the bloc. Crypto-friendly Senator Bill Hagerty unveiled a discussion draft of legislation to create a regulatory framework for stablecoins that is very similar to work being done in the House of Representatives. The Tennessee Republican said his draft legislation provides much-needed clarity in a statement on Thursday. The draft closely resembles the Clarity for Payment Stablecoins Act worked on in the House of Representatives by Representative Patrick McHenry, RNC, and Maxine Waters, D. Califf. It is Senator Hagerty's version of McHenry Waters, spokespeople for Senator Hagerty said in an emailed statement to the bloc. Hagerty also is a member of the Senate Banking Committee, which has jurisdiction over key agencies, including the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Senator Hagerty's draft bill takes the structure of the House bill while also splitting federal supervision between the Federal Reserve for banks and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency for non-banks, his spokespeople said. Hagerty's draft bill would include a provision that says issuers that go over a $10 billion threshold may get a waiver from their federal regulator to then stay under their state's jurisdiction. The draft legislation also includes language around maintaining reserves on a one-to-one basis with reserves that have U.S. currency. Stablecoins have the potential not only to enhance transactions and payment systems, but also to help create new demand for U.S. treasuries as we work to address our unsustainable deficit, Sen. For too long, these benefits and the broader promise of stablecoins have been hindered by the lack of clear regulations. Negotiations around passing a stablecoin bill have been complicated over the last few years on Capitol Hill. House Financial Services Chair McHenry and the top Democrat of that committee, Representative Waters, have been working on their bill to create a regulatory framework for stablecoins since 2022. The bill advanced out of the Republican-led committee last year but has not gained much traction. At the time, Waters called the bill deeply problematic due to a provision that allows state regulators to approve stablecoin issuances without Federal Reserve input. However, tables might have turned last month during a congressional hearing when Representative Waters said she wants to strike a grand bargain on stablecoins before the end of the year. Waters said the bill needs to place the Federal Reserve in a dominant role and that stablecoins must be backed by safe reserves, such as short-term Treasury bills. I've made a public statement to you about bipartisanship. Let's see what you do with it, Waters told McHenry in late September. Cody Carbone, president at the Digital Chamber, said the advocacy group was encouraged by the release of the draft legislation. While the window for passage in this Congress is limited, Senator Hagerty's efforts have revitalized the discussion, Carbone said in a statement to the bloc. The push for a U.S. stablecoin regulatory framework is bipartisan, and we urge lawmakers to prioritize this important, common-sense legislation through the end of the year. Ron Hammond, Director of Government Relations at the Blockchain Association, said Sen. Hagerty's draft was an important development, especially after comments made by McHenry and Waters to move forward stablecoin legislation before the end of the year. While the election results will largely determine what is in the realm of possible for the lame duck, it is likely the Republicans will take back the Senate. And this effort from Sen. Hagerty could be the starting point for a Republican-led Senate Banking Committee in 2025 should stablecoins not get addressed in the lame duck, Hammond said in a statement to the bloc. Ripple News. Could Gary Gensler's resignation or removal lead to a dismissal of the Ripple SEC lawsuit? The U.S. SEC has filed an appeal in its case against Ripple, after a federal judge ruled that the SEC did not prove Ripple violated securities laws by selling XRP to retail customers. The SEC's appeal, submitted to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, argues that the judge's decision contradicts established Supreme Court precedents and securities laws. As we look ahead, Several factors could influence the ongoing legal battles in the crypto space. With an election approaching, potential changes in leadership could impact the SEC's direction. If Donald Trump wins, the current dynamics could shift dramatically. There's widespread concern about how ongoing litigation is driving innovation out of the United States. According to James Murphy aka Meta Lawman, this situation could lead to one of two outcomes. Either Gary Gensler resigns or is removed from his position, replaced by someone less hostile towards crypto. A new leader might prioritize settling or dismissing cases rather than pursuing aggressive actions against the industry. James said that the upcoming presidential election's importance for cryptocurrency regulation. He noted that Kamala Harris recently couldn't identify any mistakes the Biden administration made regarding crypto, despite ongoing efforts, dubbed Operation Choke Point 2.0, to restrict the industry. It's also worth noting that there's legislation in the works that could clarify jurisdiction over cryptocurrency, suggesting that it might be impractical for judges to decide these matters without clear guidelines from Congress. Given this landscape, there's a greater than 50% chance that we could see changes that alter the course of these cases. He added that influential figures like Mark Cuban and Anthony Scaramucci suggest changes might be on the horizon, but he's doubtful. With the election just weeks away, he pointed out that the administration could easily request Gary Gensler's resignation. And typically, such requests are complied with. However, he expressed frustration that no actions have been taken yet. Brazilian authorities launch operation targeting entities facilitating crypto money laundering. The Brazilian Federal Police launched Operation Alcacaria this Wednesday, aiming to thwart the action of a network focused on providing money laundering services using cryptocurrency. The operation involved 62 search warrants, 13 arrest warrants, and the seizure of funds of the involved entities and banks. Brazilian authorities execute Operation Alcacaria against crypto money laundering actors. Brazil is strengthening measures against institutions leveraging crypto to complete financial crimes. Local media reported that the Brazilian Federal Police launched Operation Alcacaria on Wednesday, targeting several financial operators that provided money laundering services to criminal organizations nationwide. The operation was executed jointly with the Federal Revenue Service. The still unnamed organizations targeted by the police are being investigated for their involvement in money laundering, currency evasion, the operation of an illegal financial institution, and the use of false documents. In addition, the police are also tracking and investigating exchanges that would also be working with these operators, providing them with digital asset liquidity for money laundering activities. However, no names have been shared publicly. On this, the federal police stated, "These money launderers are allegedly responsible for currency evasion and money laundering for a variety of crimes throughout Brazil, in a practice known as crypto cable." The operation was launched simultaneously with a similar initiative called Operation Privilege, which also shared some suspects with this one. 13 preventive arrest warrants and 20 search warrants were issued as part of Privilege, which has a regional anti-crime force at its helm, the Rio Grande do Sul Organized Crime Task Force. Last month, Brazil also executed Operation Niflheim, a high-level crackdown on 3 organizations that had laundered almost $10 billion using crypto, sending these funds to countries like the US, the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Hong Kong, and China. This makes Alcacaria the last of 3 actions launched against cryptocurrency-based money laundering crime in Brazil in less than 1 month. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: Dinar Recaps.